Welcome to the Inner Alchemy Podcast. We're gonna have some soul talks here, y'all, because I have been dying to start this podcast forever. And here is where we are going to explore the art of healing, and it's beyond traditional, and dive into the soul's journey through your mind, your body, and your spirit. I'm Andrea Arledge, a former registered nurse turned holistic healer, a Reiki master teacher, a shadow coach, and certified holistic nutritionist, among so many other certifications. It's really embarrassing. And this podcast is where we connect, we grow, and uncover the powerful tools for wellness. And even from numerology, esoteric wisdom, somatic healing, energy work, herbalism, all the things about how we can be healthy and how and I will share my story with you, left my nursing career to do healthcare differently. So join me each week as we bring you empowering conversations, healing insights, and tools for transformation. Let's embark on a journey together to redefine what health, wealth, and true connection can mean for all of us. Now, this is the first episode, obviously. And so I wanted just to take a moment to introduce myself and to really tell you some of my background. Just as I said, as a nurse I was in the healthcare field for about 14 years as a nurse. And oh, I have learned a lot. And then when I left, because I made a conscious decision to leave because of, well, many reasons you will learn throughout this podcast. And yeah, we need major reform in healthcare. I have so much to say about that. But also, one of the this is where I want to start really with this podcast is telling you where I've landed now. Because in all of the certifications that I've done, and really wanting to heal myself, the most powerful thing that I have ever found that was the ultimate healing for me, and it's shadow work. And that may sound scary. I think there's still several people, or I'm sure millions of people, who knows the number, y'all, I'm just throwing out numbers, that don't know what shadow work is, or they don't understand exactly what that is. And so by I'll tell you where it started. So Carl Jung, I think in the 1970s, he coined this term, the shadow, right? And the shadow is the part of us that we repress, or we regress, or we we hide, we stuff down. And so it's it becomes this part of us that we've suppressed, right? And it's so subconscious. Some people would say this is the ego, and some people would say, no, no, this is something different. So anyway, the shadow, that's the verbiage I'm going to use for this podcast, because I am a shadow coach, like I said. And uh, when I say that shadow work has been the most healing for me, I think that everybody, if you're a human on this earth right now, you need shadow work, especially with the division that we have, not only in the United States of America, but throughout the world. And, if you could see, like, from your life experiences, because this is what happens. Let's say maybe in my childhood, I had something happen to me, something traumatic maybe. And trauma, y'all, is we'll get into further down the road, like trauma, because trauma can be many things. It's not just, a huge car wreck or going off to war. It's bigger than that. Or I say it's bigger than that. It's more than that, is what I want to say. And so whenever we're talking about this, like the birth of the shadow, we'll go there, is, a lot of times from our childhood. And something happened, and then out of that thing that happened, we create stories. And we even put, like, on a mask to a persona, that keeps us safe as we walk through the world. So we start to create narratives, and we start to create a story through all of the things that have happened to us in the past. And a lot of the times, I will say, with the clients I've worked with anyway, a lot of things come from the childhood. But mostly in this podcast episode, I wanted to share with you what shadow work is. And so that is where we go deeply as a coach into your subconscious with really great questions, right? Really great questions that will just stop you in your tracks and make you think. And a lot of times it's getting into the body because that's where trauma is stored, right? That's where all of this dense energy, what I call dense energy, is stored in our bodies. And I don't know if you've ever heard of the book, The Body Keeps the Score, but it's true. The body does keep the store and or the score, not the store. But also, when we go to, let's say, where I want to go with this is that your body's wisdom, your body's wisdom is so, your body is so wise and divinely made. And so, with all of that trauma stored in your body, that does lead to more health, more disease, and we know, I mean, even, my nurse brain, the Western medical part of me wants to say, we already know that stress kills. It's true. And also, we can remove that stress. And our minds are so much more powerful than we've ever been led to taught, I mean, or taught, to even believe. So, y'all, I'm not going to edit this podcast much because I really want it to be authentic and just off the cuff. Like I began this reading my notes from my phone just so I could do the introduction and not flub it up. But I really don't want to spend a lot of time editing this because I want you to get this real raw side of me and the people that I'm going to have here because I have some people in mind that I want to come on and talk, especially other healthcare workers, other healers, in a way that they do, maybe herbalists. So there's a multitude of different ones, different coaches and healers that I want on, therapists. So, with that being said, this is going to go up on YouTube. It's also going to go on Spotify for now. So, if you want to tune in and listen, you can absolutely, write comments below that of the with the questions that you have about shadow work, what it is, how can it help you? And here, I'll go ahead and tell you how it can help you. You know how we walk around the world. So I work with a lot of entrepreneurs, and we walk through the world with this false persona a lot of times. And we also have this upper limit. And a lot of times in the entrepreneurs that I work with anyway, they have this thing about upper limits. And the upper limits come from our golden shadow, right? And so the golden shadow is the part of us the gifts that we suppress. And then when we come to this upper limit, it may be, well, who am I to do this? Who am I to write this book? Who am I to start this podcast? Right? Who am I to be a coach? Who am I to, because we can feel at the same time like we're not enough, we're too much, like it's crazy making. So, with that being said, put your comments below and let me know, what your questions are around shadow work and how it can help you. Again, it can help you be internally free, free from the stories, free from the narratives that you've told yourself, free from the societal projections, maybe it's familial projections, but free of people telling you who to be and what to do and how to think. And that's not, you will never know yourself until you stop and listen to your inner dialogue, to your inner landscape, if you will, and hear what your soul, what your spirit is just screaming at you, like, listen, and sometimes things will manifest in our bodies because we're not listening to what our inner guidance system is saying to us. And so that's just a little synopsis. That's just to tell you what shadow work is. There's a whole nother, episode I could tell you how to do this shadow work, but I will say that as many people as I've talked to about shadow work, and you can certainly do it on your own. And we do have blind spots that you may not see. And so that's why I think it's powerful to tune in to other people that are doing this work themselves, a shadow coach, even that can take you deeper, faster, and get really, really good results. So I'm basically a therapeutic coach, right? And so I'm not just your typical life coach. With that being said, I have lots of wisdom in even like Taoist stone medicine, y'all. I did a 3 year uh, class with a teacher and became a stone medicine teacher too. So I love metaphors. I'm a numerologist and I look at things through a lens of like archetypal energy. And uh, yeah, so I want you, if I could just tell you one thing right now, I want you to remember who you are always. I want to hold a mirror up to you and reflect back to you who you are and who you are to do the things that you want to do in this world and to feel free and to feel the freedom to do it and to feel this sense of like, I know me. I know myself. I've got myself. I've got my back, even if nobody else does. Right? This is where we get to discern and follow our intuition. And so, yeah, I'm going to keep this one really short and simple. I'm just super excited to get this thing finally launched into the world. And it's not going to be perfect because that's what I'm fighting. That's one of my shadows, y'all, is really perfectionism as a nurse. Okay. If you can just imagine if you were a nurse and you had somebody's life in your hands, right? And you had to make up beds you had to bounce a quarter off the bed, right? So everything has to be perfect in that nursing world that I was in. And it really did a number on me. Not just that. There's lots of trauma from nursing, and I have my own trauma, from my chronic illness that I walk through the world with. I live in a body with type 1 diabetes. And so, that's a thing. That's my reality. So for all of you chronic illness, I'm going to call you a warrior. My heart is with you, and yeah, y'all let me know what questions you have, even around shadow work and other ways to heal. But I have so much to come. I have so much that I want to say about, you know, even this. What wants to come through me right now is the herbalism and the plants and nature and all of the things that we can do for ourselves that we don't need a doctor for. Now, I'm not saying not to go to the doctor. That's not what I'm saying. So please don't take this out of context. But there are ways that we can feel really empowered and that we can start to feel better in our minds, our bodies, and our spirits. And so I'm here for the soul talk, y'all. I know I've actually been dreaming about this podcast, and in my dreams too, I'm like, but you got to talk about UFOs, Andrea. So there may be some things like that come through too. So I'm super excited to finally get this launched and just put my stake in the ground and say, hey, I'm here. My name is Andrea Arledge. I am here to share with you all of the things that I've learned because I want to empower you to feel good. I want to empower you to live the life that you want to live. And I'm just sending you all my love right now. And I can't wait to see you in the next episode. Mwah. Much love.